Hi, it's Grandma here reading Adam of the Road, chapter 16, The Fall of Adam. Now, the fall of Adam is what we call Genesis story with Adam and Eve and the apple and the serpent. But we also have a picture here of our Adam sitting on a wall with an apple tree beside him, and we see people out in front looking like they're doing some kind of acting on a stage in front of a curtain. And so I'm not sure what the fall of Adam is, if it's a story about Adam and Eve, or if it's a story about our minstrel Adam and that he's going to fall. But we will soon find out. The fall of Adam. Adam followed the crowd. A crowd might mean a minstrel, and the minstrel might be Roger. He was in a part of Winchester that he had not yet explored, south of the King's Gate, near St. Michael's Church. And if you'll recall, in the last chapter, at the end of it, after he has just done so much looking for Roger, he has gone to St. Swithin's, and he prayed that he find Roger and Nick again. Continuing. When they came to the churchyard, the group that Adam was following merged into a larger crowd and came to a halt. Adam tried to worm his way through to find out what they were looking at, but he could not, for they all stood closely together and stuck out their elbows defensively at any pressure from behind. And believe me, I know what that's like. I've been to Disney World, where you just have to hold out your elbows to keep people from getting ahead of you. Well, at least that's what we had to do. "What is it? What's going on?" said Adam to a man beside him. "It's a miracle play. They've been announcing it all over the parish." Now, you know that back in those days, they didn't have television or movies or phones or iPads or computers. So their entertainment was primarily telling stories to one another, listening to minstrels, but another source of entertainment were plays. And at that time, they had three kinds of plays. They had mystery plays, which were, and then they had morality plays, and they had miracle plays. Morality plays had a lesson that they were telling you about how you should be living. Miracle plays, though, were plays about the life of saints or stories from the Bible. "We've not had one since Plow Monday," the man raised his voice. "Move a little closer up front, can't you? We can't see back here." Now, we don't really celebrate Plow Monday, but this is an ancient holiday ritual that sometimes happened in England, and it was the Sunday after Epiphany. So it was early in January, and it was the time when people took their plows and their hoes, their shovels, maybe seeds, took them to church, and the church blessed them because they would soon be plowing the land and planting the seeds. So they were getting everything blessed for a good harvest. We do that at our church with the children before they go to school. They have a blessing of backpacks. We also have once a year, the blessing of our pets. But we don't live in a rural community that's, farms, so we would not have a blessing of our farm implements. But maybe they do that in parts of the United States. I don't know. From the front came an angry shh. Adam tried to creep in around the edges, but the mass of people pressed up tight against the churchyard wall. It must be a good play, though, he thought. He joggled the elbow of a lanky man who had brought a stool to stand on. "Please, sir, what play are they giving?" he asked in a loud whisper. He had seen the resurrection play performed in the marketplace at St. Albans at Easter time, and it had been wonderful. "It's the fall of Adam," said the man. "It's already begun. See that platform? That's paradise. They've got it rigged up for a fair this time." "Shh," said somebody. Now, the fairs then were not very different from our fairs today. But the entertainment, of course, would be very different. Today we have, country music, or we have a rock band. But back in those days, they watched these plays. So it was the fall of Adam, was it? All the more reason why Adam Quatermain ought to see it. And by hook or crook he would. An idea struck him. He turned and ran through the churchyard gate and along the wall outside till he came to the place where it met the church itself at a right angle. It was high and offered fewer footholds than the abbey wall at St. Albans had done. He thought of Perkin and wished that he were there too. But by using the church to brace knees and elbows against, he managed with a heave and a puff and a scraping to get himself up. Then he ran along the top till he found a spot where he had the best view and sat down with his legs dangling over the churchyard. Below him on the right was the audience. Rising above him on the left was the old stone church. Directly in front and a little below the level of his eyes was the platform rigged up to represent paradise. It was hung with curtains from about 3 feet above its floor all the way to the ground below, and above the curtain showed a wealth of green boughs hung with flowers and fruit. One leafless sapling stood by itself with large green apples tied to its branches. Above the curtains, which hid the lower part of their bodies, Adam in a scarlet tunic and Eve in a white silk gown and cloak could be seen moving about with evident enjoyment. Now and then they took a pear or a plum from one of the bushes, but they shuddered away from the apple tree. Now, why are they avoiding the apple tree? And they're eating plums and pears? Because they had been told they could not eat that apple, eat from the apple tree by God. Underneath the platform, evidently, was hell, for several demons in black with black faces came running out from behind the curtains. They looked up at paradise and pointed out the forbidden apples to Adam. Adam on the wall was delighted. He wished he was down there playing the part of one of those demons. Then a bigger demon with horns and a tail approached Adam in paradise and suggested that he have an apple, which he declined with a burst of righteous indignation. The big demon joined the little demons, and they all went into hell to confer. Now came one of the most exciting moments of the play. The audience apparently knew it was coming, for they whispered and craned their necks eagerly. Up from the bushes beside the apple tree, waving back and forth as if it were really alive, came a large and hideous serpent. He spoke to Eve in a coaxing voice that came approximately from underneath the platform. "I tell you, sooth, I will not lie. Come eat the fruit, you shall not die. For God doth know, though he disguise, who eats this fruit is straightway wise. His eyes see far, and he does grow, himself a God, and all things know." Well, this was too much for Eve. She took an apple from the tree, untying it with some difficulty, bit it, and handed it to Adam, who ate up the rest of it. As soon as he had thrown away the core, however, remorse set in. He ran away and hid, disappearing from the view of the audience below the curtains. But Adam Quatermain, from his high seat on the wall, could see the other Adam crouched in a corner of the platform, changing his scarlet tunic for a rough green one sewn together, resembling fig leaves. Now from the church door, a figure in a surplice and stole, those are the gowns of priests, came forward and mounted the steps to paradise. Eve, in her turn, ran and hid and changed her shining white silk cloak for a drab and ragged one. It was no use their hiding. They had come forth and stand with bowed head before the figure, which, while with fearful denunciation, he drove them out of paradise. A sigh that was almost a groan swept the audience. Adam Quatermain hitched himself forward on the stone wall, hoping to see more of the demons. Slowly descending the steps from paradise, Adam carried a spade and Eve a distaff and spindle, symbols of the work they would have now that they had to earn their bread, that no longer had food that was plentiful for them because they are now leaving paradise and going to have to work. Adam delved into the ground with the spade, and Eve span and both wept and groaned, stopping now and then to point longingly up at paradise, while demons ran out from under the platforms and planted thorns and thistles in the earth where Adam was digging. As if there were not enough, more devils came forth and hung clanking iron chains on the necks of Adam and Eve. With horrible grimaces and loud shouting and booing, they dragged the poor sinners off to hell and pushed them in through the curtains. The demons outside did a dance of triumph, and the demons inside set up a great clashing of pots and kettles. Adam on the wall leaned over to see better. Finally, just when the din was at its most terrific, actual smoke gushed out from between the curtains. At this culmination of realism, Adam Quatermain fell off the wall. So the fall of Adam had two meanings, and both of them were in this chapter, about the fall of Adam and Eve and Adam Quatermain falling off the wall. The next chapter is chapter 17, and it's called Adam Meets Some Minstrels. And Adam looks like he might have been injured in that fall. He's got a bandage tied around his head. He's in bed, and here come some people who look concerned about him, like they're taking care of him. See you next time. Bye-bye.